really have to wonder, did it count against Longzhu just like it counted against the GE Tigers in the first ever LCK final, LCK Spring 2015, that they haven't been able to warm up on this match, that they are coming in cold when it comes to competitive games? Well, let's focus on the picks and bans for game one. Predictably, we see the Cassiopeia banned away from SKT. I love the Rakan ban because remember, against KT, SKT began that series banning away the Rakan themselves. It was the picks they banned, the Trundle and the Rakan, that they actually played to such great success. And now Wolf is actually drawing Rakan bans.
Well, see what the final ban is going to be, whether it's... No, it's not. So I thought the Lucian might come out, but no, it is going to be the Maokai taken away from either Peanut or Untara. Of course, Peanut in one of his 2 games for SKT versus KT did play that Maokai, so can be flexed, but not going to this game.
A lot of teams found success against Longzhu, targeting the jungle pool of Cuzz, trying to target the rookie. No bans towards the jungle from SK Telecom. Does mean Zach is available. Zach's stronger than some junglers, but not necessarily seen as much in other regions. Guys, please remember, we are on patch 715. We are not on 716 like every other region. 715 with Urgot disabled is our patch today, not 716 with all the mid lane nerfs and the other tweaks to champions.
Yes. Well, Ashe is going to be the first lock-in here from Bang. Interesting that we see such a priority. It's only Kalista and Tristana taken away, so Caitlyn was available if they wanted to take it.
Against any other team, you look at that and you say that's high priority for Ashe, but remember that Prey is perhaps the best Ashe player to ever live. 11-4 on the season. One of his primary picks, his arrows at World Championships and in the LCK are legendary, and it's interesting to see us return to an old era because Kalista and Tristana, the new Vogue AD carries, were banned away from SKT. Longzhu will return to the Varus for the first time in a long while, preferring it over the Xayah with Rakan banned away.
Still has a bow though, Papa Smithy, so we know that Prey certainly able to get himself around that champion. I mean, it's only 7 times played in the regular split as opposed to the 15 Ashe games, but still his second most played. And Gorilla, he's done it. He's taken away the Alistar, and this is going to be the bottom lane that we wanted.
Remember that Longzhu, as the higher seed, have the choice of side in Game 1, Game 3, and Game 5. They actually chose blue side, even though SKT have been prioritizing red. Faker is flashing different mid lane champions. He will blind pick LeBlanc. For the second time this season playing LeBlanc, was picked by Pawn against him, you'll remember. A lot of teams have been preferring red side, and I think SKT in Game 2 will choose red side because in the 3rd pick in the first round, you choose your mid laner and you ban away quasi-counters to it. So we'll see what SKT want to decide to try to target the champion pool of BDD.
Well, the Trundle is going to be taken away once again by SKT. You alluded to that previously, that it was Untara that was able to get a lot of work done on the pick, but they still don't want to take that one away, and it could mean a Cho'Gath could be aimed for here.
Now, the reason why you ban away Trundle against Longzhu is that almost all of Longzhu's success in summer has been around Khan having pressure in lane. His most played is Jace. Dominant pick on the season, 8-1. Being able to push in lane and give Cuzz a bit more freedom to what he wants to do has been central to Longzhu's successes. So I like the Trundle ban. It opens up the potential champion pool for Untara. And because they blind pick their mid laner early, they are very comfortable to last pick for Untara and guarantee that Khan doesn't have a massive advantage in lane.
Yeah, get some sort of counter matchup as Jace is taken away as well. Khan getting all of the attention. Of course, Cuzz's champion was locked in, so unable to take any of that away. But what are Longzhu going to do as far as that final ban? Because it looks like top lane has been, well, it's been heavily punished, but no Zyra. The Ashe Zyra lane is being denied by Longzhu, but it feels like a bit of a step back because Wolf hasn't necessarily been playing those range supports as much.
You're right, but you think about why they would ban Zyra in this spot, and it's to give coverage to Varus Alistar. They want lane priority in the bot lane with an Alistar lane, which isn't a trivial thing. Alistar's not the most powerful 2v2 laner. So banning away a lane counter to Alistar means that if they can actually guarantee push in bot, allow the Alistar to roam, like Gorilla has been famous for many years, that could be big for them. Longzhu need to blind pick their top lane. They blind pick Jax against Untara. last time these two teams met, Atlas. They're returning to it. And when it comes to safety, it'll be BDD once again on the Orianna.
Safety and comfort, Papa Smith, is exactly what we wanted from Longzhu, to be honest, is to give them champions that is going to settle the nerves on this stage. The top side of the map hasn't been in a situation like this ever, so make sure that they're comfortable. And Jack's Orianna Zac is going to do it. Cuzz was the first to play Zac this split, but that's going to be the Shen for Untara.
Shen is the answer. They tried Gnar into Jax, and Khan over time was able to match the item buys from Untara and beat him. Even though Untara has been undefeated since on Gnar, they prefer the Shen, which is a farm lane for Jax. He also has a ranged interrupt on the Stand United with his Q into the Counter-Strike. Leap Strike and Counter-Strike will interrupt Stand United. There'll be wave clear concerns as well, so probably have to go Tiamat into the Titanic Hydra. But SKT have put together a very strong pick comp here. Very powerful in the early to mid game. Their transition there is so clean. If SKT pick up the first turret, what they do from there is so obvious with triple teleports and the Ashe range initiation. Gragas also a fantastic initiator. Longzhu, massive wave clear and a Jax. So many teams pick Jax and fall into the trap of team fighting. This team has good team fighting, but largely is about the 4-1, about wave clearing as Untara is forced to respond to the split push from Jax.
Yeah, the macro power of SKT is going to be so dominant. Abyssal Voyage, Stand United, so many options to get you around the map, not to mention these double teleports. And which fighting game is this, Papa Smith? I want to play this. Oh, it's called League of Legends. Hell yeah!
You're casting your first grand final. We get virtual reality, but also with the posers. Everyone faces down their opponent. This game is probably going to be decided by Khan. This series is probably going to be decided by the rookies. The bot lane, you can plug and play. It is the best four bot laners playing against each other. It's the dream.
It is absolutely the dream. All of the questions that we have about to be answered here in the LCK final for summer 2017. I cannot wait to see who is going to go and who is going to be able to take game number one. Could it be Longzhu? Are they going to start the Cinderella story? We'll find out as we hit the rift.
We have a couple of moments, Atlas, with a issue before we get into game. Very interesting to see how these comps develop. Very excited to see specifically if they can pull off the Zac that has been up and down recently.
I like the pun, but you know, Cuzz has been strong on the champion in the past. Only managed to pick it up a couple of times because the guy's priority was very high, but he has a 20 KDA on the champion and 100% win rate.
Mate, you could have 100 KDA as a player in the regular season, and in your first grand final, how much does it count for? I think we have to be convinced that they can replicate their performances here, because this player on your screen looks nervous. A lot of the Longzhu players do. They haven't been in this rodeo before like Prey and Gorilla have.
Yeah.
It's one thing to tell people stories of what to expect, it's another to be here in front of thousands of screaming fans with Worlds on the line. Remember Longzhu, if they win, go to Worlds. If they lose, we'll be in the Worlds qualifier. SKT are already in Worlds. They're actually playing for KT's hopes and dreams. The Telecom teams for once are united for maybe the first time in history. KT Rolster will watch SK Telecom and be kind of happy with both results, but surprisingly, will prefer SK Telecom to win.
Yeah, because that guarantees their way into the World Championship. However, Longzhu, everything on the line. I wonder whether it does mean that KT are just going to be relaxed but still play to their full potential. I mean, what does it necessarily mean here? Because often pressure can do fantastic things for players, and if there isn't that kind of pressure, will we see a different SK team? Will Longzhu be able to capitalize? there are still so many questions up in the air that Game 1 should give us at least a start in telling.
And look, we've had pseudo moments. We've had big games in the regular season, but the reason why I hesitate is that that's in Sungam, that's in their comfortable chairs. That's somewhere where they've been so many times. This is so different. The majestic lighting, all the champions lit up, stands also being shown to the crowd. It's so different. Even for us, it's a different scenario to cast a grand final. And these extra minutes probably aren't helping because all these players are desperate to get into game. But it seems like just a couple of final adjustments before we're able.
Yeah, just to make sure that everything is A-OK. You can see the Longzhu players on your screen right there. Ready to get in to game number 1. Comfort picks all around. Remember, the debut of BDD for this season was the 6-0-5 in back-to-back games against Pawn, against KT Rolster for the first match for this roster. So firsts don't necessarily come too hard for the Longzhu squad. It's just a very big ask when the first time on a stage like this you have to face down the best team in a 5-game series that exists.
Best team in form too, Atlas. And finally, we're ready to get into game 1.
Yeah, here we are under the ref for game number 1 for the LCK Summer Final. Okay, we'll see.
Massive T1 cheer is what we will see first. Cheers begin what should be an epic best of 5, but I was joking. I didn't have the extra information there. We will be going into a small pause, ladies and gentlemen, so apologies for that.
Did see that the Longzhu players were able to leave the base, so that's certainly working out, but BDD having a bit of a drink. See what the problem is going to be.
Yeah, they're just trying to troubleshoot the last couple of issues before we can go live. This is the time where perhaps we have a little bit of latitude to power through these issues, hoping it will be blemish-free after we start.
We also know that there's always a lot to talk about before you get into game number 1 as well. So the players understanding that they need to be a little bit lenient, try and get out a few little technical issues beforehand, just so that we can give you guys at home all of the information that you need to understand exactly how important this match is, especially for a team like Longzhu, as you can see right there. BDD throwing some orbs out. And man, I mean, the one worrying thing that I can see from this composition, Papa, is that Longzhu have got a comp that they would have been dominating with in patches past, not necessarily in the new era of League of Legends that has those big beefy tanks towards the top side.
But they did make it work against SK Telecom, sure not on 7.15, but on a very recent patch that was played on 7.13, but not that much had changed when it comes to specifically Jax. Jax is at the same power level he was before. SKT have scouted the Jax. It's an expected pick from the side of Khan, but it's so different because you and I sat there and cast so many of these playoff matches where it was dominated by tanks, maybe a Gnar if you're getting creative, but largely it was about the tanks. This situation is not. You will have to pay Khan a lot more notice than you would a more capable tank like the Maokai. But we weren't expecting Maokai from the side of Longzhu, especially for game 1. I think you lead game 1 with what worked for you in the regular season and adapt. Too many teams have got too tricky. I think of Samsung Galaxy in both spring and summer, who left their old strategies behind to show us something new, and then lost playing the new, never was able to actually return to the comfort. Here it is comfort for both teams, but it does feel like SKT's comfort fits the patch a little bit.
Yeah, not to mention it fits what SKT is so incredibly good, which is moving to exactly the right places on the map and capitalizing. You know, macro play with a composition like this is almost made too easy with all the different mobility moves that they do have. Double teleport plus Stand United and Abyssal Voyage, like you mentioned earlier on. But as far as pushing waves are concerned, it seems like Longzhu are able to at least get theirs moving forward here in the middle.
And I like that you brought that up because, you know, if you actually look back and really, with a fine-tooth comb at the LCK semi-final, lane priority was the thing that changed between SKT in Game 1 and Game 2, and then the last 3 games of the season as we miss out on a trade, checking out the cool video screen.
Yeah, it's a super sweet Ocean Drake, but BDD lost half of his health bar. He's going to be okay. Just pick up your ball. It'll be fine.
In the early game, it's not like BDD will have the priority on Orianna that he does after a couple of shops as he starts to work towards both the mana regen, cooldown reduction, and probably some magic resist to be able to suffer through. May even have to rush a Banshee Veil to survive the lane. But like you say, Ignite was taken on Gorilla. The Zyro was banned. They have lane priority in bot side as Cuzz and Peanut face off.
Peanut actually not deciding to go too aggressive as Untara utilizes the fact that his jungler came out ahead in order to move himself past and force some aggression onto Khan. Khan actually underneath his turret up there towards the top side, but that should bounce back. Shen not necessarily a super pusher here at this stage, but Untara really flexing his muscles.
This is where Longzhu have the biggest pushing advantage from bot lane.
The double piercing arrow, the dream.
Max the value from that ability. Jax will also have push advantage over the Shen, not this early as Khan allowed his lane to push in due to Zax's slower clear speed. The mid lane is up in the air, especially if the snowball begins. Should note that it is Peanut playing, and Peanut was involved in both those losses against SK Telecom. They ran Peanut Untara as their top lane jungle configuration on that day. And Peanut was involved in both the losses against PT Rolster in the semi-final, struggling to find his way on the tank jungle pool. This is the one tank jungler he's shown the best performance on. The Gragas has been comfort for Peanut, 5-1 over this season, and also was his primary pick in the playoffs, so he has a lot of experience on this patch making the Gragas work.
Yeah, of course, Gragas, an incredibly coveted pick for most junglers here on this patch, and in fact, it was back-to-back Gragas games that Cuzz was able to pick up victories against SKT last time these two teams met, so a big pick and certainly understanding as to why it was prioritized so high by SKT, but still Longzhu wanting to first pick the Zac, partly, I could assume, from Peanut's recent performance on the champion as well on this recent patch.
Is very, very powerful against some of the picks on the side of SKT, specifically the Ashe. If you are no escape AD carry, you do shudder at the thought of being engaged on. A lot of trading here, aggressively coming through from Tahm, but not as one-sided as he might want to have liked. He does have his jungler on this side of the map, so a bit more insurance that he's going to be able to get the advantage. Will continue to push. He's trying to suggest the jungler's not here, because it's definitely, as we know, close to Untara.
Yeah, it does put the ward down, but it's a little bit late. So now Cuzz is going to move over, unseen by the ward for now, I believe.
Gragas is taking away camps. Untara doesn't have complete information, but knows that Cuzz was jungling on top side, so why walk up? You are Shen, you will have a global soon. You just need to get tanky and BK. So because vertical jungling has been enacted with Longzhu jungling on the top side, does relieve pressure on Untara.
Counter-Strike comes in, but doesn't decide to go for any leap to follow up. Faker doesn't find the chain there as BDD going aggressive, but a big trade from Faker means that the Orianna will have to back away, and Peanut here as well, Cuzz sort of fearing this situation because he is a level behind the Gragas.
Not quite the domination of score on Zac in Game 5 that Zyrene did a great profile of in the teamfight breakdown this week, but as you say, there is an experience advantage as Cuzz spent so much time looking for the gank up top lane.
Should be able to balance that one out as Untara is going to get cancelled. Very rude, Khan, but a good decision to make nonetheless.
Khan itemizes will be interesting to see. The Sheen into the Trinity Force part is guaranteed. He did teleport straight back to lane, so there could be a Stand United play as Bang hits 6. There will be no response available from Khan unless he can get the interrupt. Faker, speaking of level 6 plans.
Yeah, he's moving down towards the bottom side, but actually just puts a control ward very, very deep. That control ward that often lasts half a game, and you feel like you're an incredibly good player putting that one there and then getting 15 minutes worth of control wardage.
And it's fun to return to why the teams have been jungling around the sides they were. Getting Khan ahead on Jax is the game plan for Longzhu. It's what they need to do as the game goes on, because team fighting is so up and down when you try to make Jax work, even with Orianna to give another potential ball carrier and a bit of shielding to the Jax. But we said also, Longzhu put their pick and ban into getting lane priority in bot lane. They're able to ward up bot lane. They're able to also harass down and stop the free push from coming through from Prey and Gorilla. So both sides are more focused on negating than actually the playmaking that also can happen in a minute.
Well, now Cuzz is actually going to face check Faker. Elastic Slingshot gets him out of the way, but the chains still land. Faker getting him towards, but Cuzz still has that passive, remember, getting a little bit overly excited when he definitely wasn't going to die, at least at that point. Command Protect coming down from BDD saves his life. Peanut finds the body slam. Okay, blast cone, and Cuzz survives.
However, the Colossus came off cooldown, got a little bit of extra shield, and then got in position to be able to pull that off. But Khan, having the wards topside, remember Cuzz tried to get Khan an advantage, now is returning and invading the weak side of the jungle. So it's very risky what Cuzz is doing, because SKT have had full control over the bot side of the jungle to this point, whereas Cuzz knows that he can just tell Khan to go with the ward down, take away the enemy red buff, and the teams keep growing leads, but in opposite sides of the map.
Everyone knows exactly what Cuzz is doing, but SKT not wanting to bite off more than they can chew, as BDD winning a trade here in the mid lane. Faker with his revolver, just looking to try and sneak those autos in, but it's very early Merc threats. Wolf has a cute little devour, but Bang, because of it, is going to stay pretty safe.
He was sitting on full health, full mana, so why not headbutt, pulverize, and draw out the devour? I'm going to see a devour. A lot of action happening in the moment.
Yeah, solo lane's just going off right now as Peanut bops BDD towards the turret because of the cleanse that he utilized. Keeps his flash though, nicely played, but as far as the health bars, not necessarily going as well. Devour comes in on the bottom side of the map, and SKT will survive the aggression from Longzhu, but it's 88 to 83, so theoretically still a lead for Prey.
When it comes to engaged supports, famously, Tahm Kench is the answer. Devour is the answer. The single target engage, but Alistar has the ability to get that second CC with the trample and actually stun up Tahm Kench after he devours Sadie carry. So has a few more strategic options when it comes to the actual choice of opponent. Every other engaged support kind of has to focus the Tahm Kench and hope for the best to kill him through great health, but you can open up onto Ashe and then use the trample, and the advantage there is that when you make that decision, Bane can't get auto attacks onto the enemy AD carry because it's in the belly, and you do win out on damage trades because of the reality of the trample, giving you extra options.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, Longzhu actually is going to head back to base. Prey building towards Blade of the Ruin King by the looks of things. Recurve bow and double longsword there. And Ninja Tabi Rush coming out from the Varus, wanting to make sure that he's able to stay as safe as possible. Body slam on cooldown. Gorilla not going to capitalize on that one, but it saves the Scuttlecrab's life for now.
To me, the big story of this game is what happens when we see a transition of power, when no longer is SKT exclusively jungling around the bot side, as Longzhu has a control top side, because that's the most likely place where someone will overstep, where someone will make a mistake. Longzhu won't have the same control to allow Cuzz to push up, and the pushing lane of Prey and Gorilla might be able to get value or a pick of their own with Cuzz on the bot side. So that's usually when things change, that's when the action happens. Okay, action's happening.
Speaking of that, Bang is going to flash out of the way of the headbutt pulve, and Wolf is making his way in. Untara makes his way down with the ultimate, but the counter teleport is going to come in. Khan cancels it, and then SKT, they turn it on once again. Flash from Prey.
A lot of respect shown by Prey.
Yeah.
Taunt was about to come off cooldown, but because Cuzz was more than a screen away, and even 4 points in Elastic Slingshot didn't mean he could be there when able to pick up that kill. Because BDD had the fast trigger finger, the Captain Jack flash, meant he didn't have to flash the first cast, will have flash available for the second. Amusing that Peanut and Cuzz did not spot each other. Ships in the night.
Yeah, Cuzz actually charging up the Elastic Slingshot, but will give Peanut the information now.
Cuzz has not been as well contained as Score was in that Game 5. Has been able to farm decently, isn't as far behind in experience. It's happy news for Longzhu, and this man on your screen is having a gay old time. He's just free farming on Jax.
Yep, just having the best time ever. Of course, an understandable position to be in against the Shen. That's a nullifying matchup, if anything. Just wants to wait until late when, it just takes too long to kill him. Questions like that. However, not going towards the Smeb build, going towards more the Sunfire Cave. Not as much battle statistics, so no Titanic Hydra.
It does mean he has less wave clear. Sure, Sunfire's decent, but...
Ooh, the hula hoop.
First of the series, we'll see more of those. First Drake was off screen, but was Ocean being claimed largest solo by Peanut, so that's the first real neutral advantage. We haven't had first blood as we're nearing the 13-minute mark. Things are tense. It's a best of 5 Longzhu, honestly, would be pretty happy with how this turned out. None of their rookies have had those rookie blemishes that potentially can color a series from as early as the first 15 minutes. And their game plan of getting Jax ahead, full marks, A+ so far in the game.
Yeah, has been working out. However, I believe that, you know, there were possible opportunities for Cuzz up here towards the top side. The last time we saw them with the vision that was gained is not going to find the elastic slingshot, but does at least land the Q. Flash and the Shadow Dash going to have to be utilized by Untara to get himself out of the way. And Teleport actually gained. SKT want this. There's the Let's Bounce. May have actually condemned Khan, though, as BDD makes his way in. Thank God. The leap was there from Khan to keep him alive, but unfortunately there's no shockwave, and down goes the Zac. They get the flash out of BDD here as well, as Blast Cone is there. Khan still has his flash, but doesn't actually break the tether in time. As Barrel comes in, BDD looking for Faker. Khan here as well, and there it is! The kill with the Thunderlord's proc.
BDD's trying to body block the body slam.
Oh, there it is! Lands it, gets the stun with the counter-strike as well. Untara trying to get one back, manages to take down Khan, and honestly, the Yakety Sax are coming out very early in this final. BDD chasing after Untara, try and grab this kill.
Kill involvement onto BDD, massive. He actually hits the shockwave.
Yeah, gets another shockwave back. Untara actually likes his chances, yeah, based on out of mana, but with no mana, you've still got the clockwork wind up. I still would have given that to BDD.
And that was the first transition to power, which led to so much action, but crucially Longzhu don't trade down. And the only loser in terms of CS on their roster, in terms of a large sense, was BDD. So him picking up a kill and assist does help him out after having to just be the soak, I would say, of the pressure around Faker in the mid lane. Early is where LeBlanc succeeds against Orianna cleanly. And he has been forced to be very defensive in his laning phase, something that he's used to as he really came into his straps in the summer season. Khan goes and picks up a kill, and that is still 34 CS up, so maybe a small gold lead to SKT, but crucially that doesn't rewrite the story that the first 15 minutes of this game were trying to tell us.
Yeah, and now you've got Khan picking up this full minion wave underneath the turret, going to extend that lead even further, closer to that 42 mark. He's going to be able to push that wave once again underneath Untara's turret. Try and get some extra pressure down there. Longzhu, their tower looking very, very comfortable on the bottom side of the map. The arrow is going to land. In goes Cuzz. This could have all been a bait as prey. 3 damage now. The Devour not quite enough. As the Kidnap comes in, they just want the kill onto Wolf, and they will be able to get it. Untara tries to save his life, but not sure whether he's going to be able to. Faker a long way away. Peanut gives up on this one, but Untara's going to be pulled back with the Q. In goes Gorilla, who's got a pulverize ready. The ultimate's down as well as he picks up the kill. Slams the ground, and the Shen. Cuzz grabs the kill under bang. The bottom lane destroyed. Untara's going to be taken down, and Peanut to follow. Longzhu, a massacre over SKT.
4 kills for Longzhu. Faker's here to try to answer. Only will get one. Will have to back away, so just a single answering kill. This will probably also be first brick in the bot lane with how many people are here. Jax free hitting on a turret. Faker, he's still smelling blood. He won't be able to answer the turret. Untara can come back with teleport, but it's not enough members. Faker will try to clean up Gorilla, doesn't get him, and it still is a massive trade up, and the bait was enacted by Longzhu. So we saw the first transition of power, SKT ganking top side. That was the first change after giving up the top side earlier. Now we see Longzhu playing bot side, and Bang thought he could take a confident trade like he had so many times with the previous WQs coming through from Alistar. This time, he was punished. We'll see the replay. First gang coming through. He spots the Zac now. And this is where they realize, oh crap, we're boned. We're too far up in lane. There is no teleport available from the LeBlanc. Stand United's on to Bang, but they don't go for Bang. They go for the guaranteed kill first up. And you notice, SKT don't respect the turret dive. LeBlanc's return to mid lane to farm. Faker does not give credit to Longzhu going for the dive, but Longzhu found their regular season victories from aggression, from early rotations. They were similar to KT in that way, being strongest in the first 20 minutes, and that surprised Faker.
Yeah, well, they're going to surprise Prey as well here towards the top side. Does still have the flash. Flashes out of the way. The arrow perfectly there as well as the Chains of Corruption. They're going to stop SKT for a moment, but no joy on the gank whatsoever, despite picking up the Summoner spell and the ultimate out of Prey.
Fantastic stuff, but it is Prey with an exact timer on his flash available to SKT. The return ganks will certainly be powerful. Longzhu are now putting Khan in the bot side, and well, he's out of control. Trinity Force and Tiamat and Merc Treads complete at 17 minutes. This is even more accelerated than he was against Cuvée a few weeks ago.
and just wanders in and takes Faker's blue buff. Now has to go up against Faker and Peanut, and it feels like he's probably bitten up too much. Oh no! He manages to leap over, and the explosive cast is going to put him to relative safety. More lead strikes are going to come in, gets under the turret, and another Khan great escape. This time doesn't get a kill, but he gets a blue buff.
And you know what the crazy thing is? If these almost were happening to Longzhu, what will we be talking about? How much does it mean? What will the frustration be like for the rookies? These are happening to the experienced players. The ganks are coming off for the rookies.
Yeah, well, Cuzz actually doesn't find any of his buttons, uses the left bounce just to close distance, but now we've got a shockwave, maybe timed a little bit late, but it doesn't matter. Prey's got enough damage. Wolf now in trouble. It's a double kill for the AD carry. And finally, SKT are going to turn up. It's a huge knock-up though, and Longzhu, they just want more. Triple kill now for Prey. He wants another one, and Untara in trouble. We could have a penta at this stage, but no. Prey's going to be taken down, and Peanut maybe went the wrong direction. There's still 3 members with decent damage here. Stand United comes in, and SKT, they have just saved their jungler and top lane.
They want to try and take down the turret. Got a bit greedy focusing there. Probably didn't even factor in that somehow there was no Stand United used. And crazily, it's the rookies pulling off the plays. It's the rookies finding the advantages. And someone like Peanut, who's a surprise to be a starter here, has not been able to block the ganks he looked for.
Okay, they're not going to go too aggressive here. Intelligent play from Longzhu, spotting that Peanut was moving up and that the rest of the team had respawned. So they'll take the free turret. Makes it 2-0 in advantage of Longzhu and extends their lead to approximately 5,000.
And they've got 9 kills, 3 on Jax, 3 on Varus. The kill distribution, perhaps as ideal as possible. And for SKT, it's only Untara with the gold. And thinking about where this game plan was supposed to go for SKT, we mentioned engage in the mid game. Pick comps in the mid game are usually at their strongest. We also mentioned double teleport against only the single teleport of Jax. They were hoping to actually hold down Jax to the point where Shen and LeBlanc could have taken him in lane, where he couldn't itemize to be able to face both and have a pushing advantage. That hope has really been delayed because there's so much extra gold onto the side of Khan that the ability to play the map, which is what SKT is looking for. Well, we've got extra teleports, we put down control wards, someone's going to teleport on you and pick up kills. Those guarantees are gone from how strong Longzhu's early game has been.
Well, Khan is just going to be able to pop himself over after taking away this Cloud Drake by himself.
He's
seems to be a one-man wrecking ball, yeah.
He's 65 CS up on Untara in the Grand Final Game 1. He's having a day out, and here's another one.
Oh, yeah, straight into the shockwave, though. It felt like SKT's trap, but is it? Peanut has to body slam his way out, but now SKT, they get the flank. Another flash comes out as the explosive cast doesn't quite find what it wants. BDD, no mana. Wolf just wants him, finds the stun, but they don't finish off the Orianna. Now Untara having to fight with Prey, who's getting free damage on top of the Shen, and in comes Khan. You said don't team fight with him, and he's happy to join this fray. As now Faker underneath the turret will be okay, but they will be able to get some more shots under here with the man advantage that they now have.
And they're trading up on objectives. They have the inside track on the mid lane turret. This is going to be the outer ring of turret collapsed for SK Telecom, and a pick comp from behind is a very different animal, and this pick comp, it's on life support.
It certainly is. You can see BDD, he's low on health, but still comfortable, or how comfortable actually, as Faker manages to grab the kill, pumps back to his earliest distortion, which was miles and miles away, and says, no, there's no doing all of your disrespectful funny business, BDD, I will punish you.
And SK Telecom needed that setting. They needed something to feel good about, where Longzhu didn't instantly flip the script and get a double kill or take a turret. That's just a 1-for-0 pick from BDD, who's been fantastic at playing around the edges of fights, the flashes of life, and making the outplay going too far. That's definitely the one that calls him into check. He will be more conservative on his next decision, but it only buys SKT a bit of a return of the tempo. That's Prey.
This is bad news. Wolf is going to turn up. Faker's there as well. Another flash once again, as there's the elastic slingshot. Cuzz just trying to keep his AD carry alive, and now Prey's able to turn around and get some cheeky auto attacks in there. Let's bounce from Cuzz. Uninterruptible and does get him out alive, and I thought that Prey was definitely dead. A Varus face checking is not what you want to be, but he is going to live.
I mean, SKT have had some great attempts at picks, but think about it, Atlas. Every time it's been on people with flash up, they haven't been able to have the ideal target selection. So when Longzhu have made the more disrespectful face checks, it's been when they have summoners up. So what looks like it's going to be credited as another kill to SKT is summoners down, but if they just swap who overextended each time, as Khan just wants to take Faker in a 1v1.
Shane was on cooldown. I can understand why he'd want to.
You look at Khan, a bubbly guy, huge emotion, not awed any time in the regular season, also not a young player. He is, of course, a player who's been playing professional for 3 years, and you said maybe he can perform in the final. We'll give him a bit of the benefit of the doubt. Cuzz is the other side of the coin, where he's a very young player, only could legally play League of Legends at the professional level in the past year in his rookie season. But the amount of just aplomb we've seen from Khan, the aggression, the ability to completely disregard the situation makes you wonder how he went under the radar for so damn long.
Well, it was just never old enough, Papa Smithy. I mean, this is the first time, like you just said.
For Khan, I mean. Not
oh, yes, for Khan. Exactly, okay. Cuzz certainly having a great performance. We know that he's a brilliant Zac. Now, see whether Khan is going to continue this reign of terror that the Jax has been able to put down. Now heading back towards that bottom lane as himself some Mercury's treads. See you later, Cuzz. Head over and grab this chicken cam. A lot of vision up towards the top side here for Longzhu, wanting to make sure that no sneaky little Barons are going to be taken by SKT. As Faker once again in trouble.
Oh, baby.
Oh, the counter stun comes in as there's the lead strike. And the 1v1 Khan proving himself versus Faker.
Some people shudder in the eyes of God. Some people just go one-on-one with him, Atlas. That was awesome stuff coming through from Khan. They're having Khan solo kill Faker in the side lane. We know what he's going to do to Shen in the 1v1. And this means that SKT can't play the side lanes like they want to with the teleports.
They can barely enter a side lane now.
Atlas, they polled all 10 coaches. And, well, 9 of them had to vote on who would win, and every single one voted on SK Telecom. We were in unison on SK Telecom.
Oh, goal.
And most of them were at 3-0. The fairy tale here for Longzhu. It won't end in game 1, but it's been a fairy tale game 1 for Longzhu Gaming.
Yeah, so far anyway. Teleport now going to come out from Khan, as I believe it was cancelled by Untara.
Yep.
The Baron is going to go over to Longzhu nonetheless, though, as Faker makes his way in. Khan just wants to try and pick up whatever he can from this as the leap strike comes down, but 2 versus 1. Not going to happen this time, Khan, and he is going to have to be sent back. So no Baron on the split push is a big deal, as Cuzz was almost able to steal away that red buff from Bang.
In any other game, we talk about how that was a critical pick for SKT, and it certainly is a trivial. But because he has kill pressure on both the people that enter his lane, he won't be able to take down inhibitors for free because people can't respond, but he still is in a great spot to split push. They don't have to abandon playing the side lane. Plus knowing that Khan doesn't have teleport, and Stand United and teleport available for Faker. Speaking of Faker.
Yep, that's 4 members of SKT over here as Cuzz does leap strike his, Elastic Slingshot his way out.
But if you look at the top side, Varus is just going for his own little split push time. No one responding. They saw everyone in vision on the bot side with Baron buff. He's doing a Jax impression. It's going pretty well.
Yep, certainly is. Jax actually making his way out of base after respawning, so Gorilla's going to turn up and say, "Pray, done a great job. Take down this turret. Everything's absolutely fine." Mid lane, inner turret also now under fire, and it feels like Longzhu just have the plan. This time, BDD does have the protection, but instant cleanse out of the arrow. They know exactly what they want. As there's the shockwave. Faker's still alive though. Wolf with the great help, keeping himself up, but BDD is going to end that pretty quickly. Cuzz now still looking for more. Let's bounce on cooldown. Longzhu investing a lot, but they get the Tahm Kench once again, and so little protection now for SKT members underneath this inner turret, and that'll make it 6. Unless Faker can get some work done. Another stretching strike, but does break the tether range quite quickly.
Poking around because they know they don't have the wave there to answer. That's why he's doing his best, even on low health, to stop these turrets going down for free.
Yep, Cuzz making his way in, does of course have the passive. Is going to be fine, and Longzhu obliterate that turret. Not going to stay too long to pick up the inhibitor as well as Cuzz. Oh, that was brave. Does make it out.
Oh, we take a deep breath. 27 minutes into game 1. Already it is a different series than I think anyone could have anticipated.
Hey, look. Achilles and I predicted 3-1, so this could have been the one.
And it's true. And look, KT did take the first 2 games. They still have the ability to bring in Blank. Not sure if it's necessitated, though. Those barrels going wide could have been oh so different in the early game for the side of SK Telecom. But Longzhu also had the scaling advantage here. Even 5v5s, Jax is so big that 5v5s are an option. They won't get the steal onto the Drake.
But Cuzz is looking very aggressive, just happy to walk at SKT. almost with his third item completed, Cinderhulk, Spirit Visage, and the Randuin's Omen coming in very, very soon. Will basically be an immovable object as Faker looking for Gorilla. Does, of course, have the ultimate, but doesn't have to use it. Still actually just pretty tanky in his own right with the Righteous Glory as well as his shield to keep him alive.
Turning to the turret in the mid lane. There has already been downs. They want to pick up the inhibitor here.
Cuzz has just been frontlining so effectively. Khan split pushing, taking down this bottom inhibitor turret. That means that SKT, if they want to commit to this, they have to leave that inhibitor open, and it's going to be Prey that deals with it in the end with the help of the rest of his team. Orbs and BDD just floating around, and look at this, it feels like it's just confining SKT to exactly where Longzhu want them to be, and this tower is going to fall as well. Gorilla looking for his way in. Oh, it's looking so dangerous for SKT fans. 11,000 gold the lead. So many more items for Longzhu. If Khan gets on top of any of these squishies, he's going to rip them apart, but it just feels so hard to count SKT out at any stage, especially after the Gauntlet run.
It's a really tense stuff. They want to get a second inhibitor. SKT do not make the second inhibitor their Alamo. They give it up to Longzhu Gaming. They realize that if they lose a fight with Longzhu freshly bought, they will lose game 1 of the series. They're looking for a better spot, but with how strong Khan is on one side of the map with his teleport up, I don't know how many better spots they're going to get.
Yeah. Well, you can see massive control ward vision available for Longzhu on the bottom side of the map, but that's a huge creep wave heading towards the top side. Longzhu might need to take care of that as Guardian Angel now completed on Khan. If there is ever a position in a game that you want to be in, it's exactly Khan's position right now. Being this far ahead, now impossible to kill, at least for the first time. Just going to have a field day. Faker, against the flow of play, is able to take the first turret for SKT on the top side. BDD cleans up a lot of minions, but he's 3 items now in comparison to the 2 and a book for Faker. The leads for the Longzhu players are getting out of hand.
And we're going to have a bit of time to breathe as finishing the game from here. It's not trivial for Longzhu. They're going to push in minion waves while they try to wait for an objective to take Baron, for example, in 2 minutes. And let's talk about why it seemed likely that SKT to win. There was, of course, the intangibles of rookies and people that hadn't played in playoffs. They definitely need to be mentioned. There's so many young players when it comes to these stakes. Nice smite away by Cuzz. That there was some optimism, there was not that much optimism around that factor, but it's also that Longzhu's playstyle all season was get Khan ahead with a pushing advantage and have Cuzz basically follow his lead. And I just thought SKT would see through that, but with the Shen they didn't really, and the Ashe goes straight into Gorilla. What's that going to do?
Yep, not looking like a whole lot as Wolf is going to be able to devour up the Ashe, but now it's on cooldown and Longzhu wanting to try and find this one again. Double shockwave lands as Peanut's going to get exploded. Wolf in trouble as well and won't be able to offer that protection. And what they want is this turret. Bang now in trouble. Uses the flash. In comes Khan. Massive damage, but Wolf is able to keep Bang alive. Stand United coming down as well. But look at this. There are super creeps smacking down the Nexus. And Longzhu against the flow of play should be able to end it right here. Wolf struggling to defend. Bang, not a lot he can do. And Cuzz says, come here, you're mine. Your Nexus is dead. And Longzhu, against everything, take game 1.
And you look at their faces, they are not elated. Of course they are happy, but they know there is plenty work to be done. Longzhu got a lot of comfort. They brought back the Jax that many other teams dismissed as a troll pick on this patch. But that allowed them to have a natural advantage in top. Untara with his options didn't go for a Rumble, for example, didn't go for the Nara that can take Jax apart to the game. He went for the Shen, and they thought double TP with a strong mid game would be enough to take them over the line against a Longzhu comp. There was a lot about the top side, but the top side got monstrously ahead in CS, and Khan having lane priority is what has allowed Cuzz to look better than he is to play. He is a good jungler, but when Khan is just pushing relentlessly, it makes Cuzz look great. And Longzhu Gaming, the bot side, played as we expected. The gank bot lane, where they picked up all those kills, was enough snowball. And Longzhu Gaming, many people, including myself, said 3-0. I think that was a founded prediction, but we hadn't seen Longzhu in a long time. We see Longzhu, and it feels like it's the greatest hits album of what took them to the regular season first spot. And the greatest hits was good enough to beat SKT in at least a single game.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. And the thing that I thought was brilliant, Papa Smithy, is that they didn't try anything new. They weren't trying to throw a curveball. This was pure comfort. every single player having exactly what they wanted from Longzhu Gaming. They haven't been tested yet. Game 2, they're going to be able to throw anything at SKT and see whether they can back it up with a second win.
Most teams will look at the patch, chuck the Maokai in the top lane and try to make the best of it, but that's not hard. His engages are the one weak point of his kit. Him having kill pressure, him with outplay is what Longzhu got their regular season wins on. It's what they returned to, and it's what won Game 1.
It was absolutely fantastic. Looking over the side of SKT, still some doubts as far as, you know, Peanut had some explosive casts that didn't necessarily go the right way, but is it Peanut? What is it that Blank brings to this team that makes them so powerful? Just incredible. But guys, we are going to go to a short break. When we get back, it will be game number 2 between Longzhu and SKT.